Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about something that most of us were never really taught, but we carry it with us every single day. It shows up in how we love, how we work, how we show up for people, and most importantly, how we show up for ourselves. We're talking about saying no. Not the dramatic kind. Not the reactive kind. The kind that's calm, grounded, honest. The kind that says, "This doesn't work for me. I need space. I matter, too." Because sometimes, the most loving thing you can say isn't yes. It's no. So if you've ever struggled with guilt, boundaries, people-pleasing, or just feeling like you've lost yourself in someone else's life, this is for you. Let's talk about something real. The power of saying no in relationships. Why saying no can actually mean love. No one really teaches us how to say no, do they? Since we were little, we've been praised for being polite. For being easy to get along with. For saying yes. We're taught that saying no is rude. That it makes people uncomfortable. That it pushes people away. And especially in relationships, we're told that love means putting the other person first. Even if it hurts. But here's the thing, real love doesn't require you to disappear. And if it does? That's not love. That's self-abandonment wearing a nice outfit. Be honest, when was the last time you said yes when you actually meant no? Maybe you were exhausted but said yes to be polite. Maybe someone crossed a line, and instead of speaking up, you shut down. You smiled. You played along. You avoided the awkward moment. Each time you do that, it chips away at your energy. And over time, it doesn't just drain you. It reshapes you. You become someone quieter. Smaller. Someone who questions her own voice. When we forget how to say no, we keep agreeing to things that leave us feeling empty. We give too much, then feel like we're never enough. Our boundaries blur, or vanish completely. We feel resentful, even if we don't want to. We stop trusting ourselves. And worst of all, we lose touch with who we really are. Nobody tells you this growing up, but here's the truth. Saying no isn't mean. Saying no isn't selfish. Saying no is actually one of the most honest, loving things you can do, for yourself, and for the people around you. It's how we say, "I'm here, and I'm real." It's how we say, "I trust you enough to show you my limits." It's how we say, "I matter, too." There's this idea out there that healthy relationships are always easy. That love should feel effortless. But the truth? Real love includes tension. Real love takes courage. And sometimes, love sounds like, "I care about us too much to lie." Now, there's also the fear that if you start saying no, people will leave. And yeah, some might. But the ones who genuinely love you? They'll stay. They'll adapt. They'll grow with you. A relationship that only works when you're agreeable, available, and self-sacrificing, that's not a relationship. That's a role. And you weren't born to play a role. You were born to be whole. So the story you're about to hear? It's about what happens when people stop apologizing for having needs. When they get quiet. Listen inward. And finally say that one word they've been afraid to say for too long. No. But what does that actually look like? How do you go from always saying yes to finally saying no? How do you go from pleasing everyone else to finally choosing yourself? That's what this next story is about. Let me introduce you to Emily. Emily's story, when saying yes becomes too much. Emily is 34. She's a teacher, a mom, a partner. She's the one everyone counts on. The steady one. The one who makes it all work. Her partner, Mark, is a bit older. He's successful, confident, and very used to getting his way. From the outside, they look like they've got it together. But inside, Emily feels like she's slowly disappearing. Every morning, she's up before everyone. Packing lunches. Checking emails. Making sure no one is late, hungry, or forgotten. Every night, she's cleaning up dinner, folding laundry, helping with homework, and listening to Mark talk about his long day. She's constantly doing. Constantly giving. Even when she's running on fumes, she smiles and says, "I'm fine." But she's not fine. She used to laugh more. Used to sing in the car. Used to wear those floral dresses Mark didn't love, and didn't care what he thought. Now, she picks her outfits based on what won't get a comment. She avoids conflict like it's fire. Not because she's afraid, but because she's already so damn tired. She says yes so automatically, she doesn't even notice anymore. "Can we visit my parents this weekend?" "Sure." "Can you skip your yoga class?" "Yeah, that's okay." "Let's not talk about that right now, alright?" "Okay." She tells herself this is what it means to be a good partner. To compromise. But deep down, every yes feels like another quiet no to herself. Then one night, she's brushing her teeth, and she looks up at herself in the mirror, and doesn't recognize the woman looking back. Not because she's aged, but because she's gone dim. Her eyes look tired in a way no sleep can fix. That night, she sits on the edge of the bed. Mark walks in. He's frustrated. "You forgot to confirm the reservation. I reminded you twice." She wants to say, "I'm drowning over here. I don't even know what day it is. Can you just ask if I'm okay?" But instead, she says, "Sorry. I'll take care of it." And she means it. Not because she's in the wrong, but because it's just easier. Because if she starts telling the truth, really telling it, she might not stop. And if she doesn't stop, what happens to everything she's been holding together? Then comes the breaking point. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's just a day she should have stayed in bed. She's got a fever. Her head is pounding. She's dizzy and nauseous. But Mark says, "We still need to go. My mom's expecting us." She nods. Gets dressed. Puts on makeup so no one asks questions. 20 minutes into the drive, she slumps over in the back seat. By the time they reach his parents' house, she's unconscious. She wakes up in a hospital bed, and 4 in her arm. The doctor says gently, "Your body didn't just get sick. It shut down. You're completely depleted." And that word, depleted, hits her right in the chest. Because it's not just her body. It's her joy. Her strength. Her voice. And for the first time in years, a new thought breaks through the noise. What if I stop saying yes to everything? What if I finally say no? After the hospital, things don't just snap back into place. Emily comes home, different. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a way anyone else would even notice. But something inside her has shifted. Quietly. Permanently. She's not angry. She's not confrontational. She's just paying attention now. Mark asks if she's feeling better. She nods. But instead of jumping back into routines, she watches. How often he interrupts her. How the kids hesitate before asking her for things. How she's been apologizing for just existing. And it stings, not because she's mad at them, but because she finally sees what she's allowed for so long. One evening, Mark says, "We should go out with my coworkers this weekend." Emily pauses. Then says, calmly, "I think I'll stay in." Her chest tightens. Her heart pounds, like she's doing something rebellious. Mark raises an eyebrow. "Everything okay?" She nods. "Just tired." He shrugs, doesn't push. And when he leaves, she just sits there, and exhales. It's quiet. Still. But this time, the quiet feels like hers. That little no cracks something open. Next comes, no, I'm not skipping my morning walk. No, I didn't like the way you spoke to me yesterday. No, I'm not going to cancel my plans again just to make space for yours. She's not picking fights. She's reclaiming space. She's not becoming cold. She's becoming clear. And it's not easy. Mark doesn't always take it well. Sometimes he sulks. Sometimes he gets passive-aggressive. But Emily doesn't shrink. Because for the first time in a long time, she's not doing everything to keep the peace. She's doing what she needs to feel like a person again. She buys a plain notebook and starts writing. Not pretty journal entries, just messy, honest thoughts. Sometimes one line, I feel invisible. Sometimes memories, I used to love painting. When did I stop? And then one day, scrolling on her phone, she sees an ad. Singing for the Soul, Adult Beginner's Welcome. Something in her sparks. She doesn't ask for permission. She just signs up. At her first class, her voice shakes. Her face goes red. But when the instructor smiles and nods, she keeps going. And by the end of that hour, she feels something she hasn't felt in years. Heard. Not by anyone else, by herself. After a few weeks, she does something even bigger. She books a weekend away. Alone. No kids. No Mark. Just her. She books the hotel. Packs a small bag. Leaves a note on the fridge. And that first morning by the ocean, standing barefoot in the sand, she breathes in deep. And it's like her lungs remember who she used to be. She writes in her notebook. I'm not here to be everything to everyone. I'm here to be something to myself. When she gets back, Mark feels the shift. You've changed, he says. Emily doesn't flinch. Doesn't explain. She just looks at him, calm and steady. I know, she says. I needed to. Then she adds, softly but clearly. I'm done keeping the peace if it costs me my voice. Jake is 42. He's the solid one. The guy who always shows up. Always knows what to do. The one everyone leans on. At work, he's dependable. At home, he's the calm presence, the dad who remembers everything, the husband who never complains. His wife, Rachel, often says, I honestly don't know how you do it all. His friends come to him when they're falling apart. His kids run to him when something breaks. And Jake never says no. But not because he doesn't want to. Because he doesn't know how. He grew up in a house where emotions were inconvenient. His dad left when he was 12. His mom shut down. Jake became the man of the house overnight. He didn't have space to fall apart. So he learned to hold it together. And he got good at it. Now, years later, he's still holding it all, without anyone noticing what it's doing to him. He gets home late and still does the dishes. He picks up after everyone and doesn't mention the mess. He stays up working after everyone's asleep, then gets up early to make breakfast. He doesn't rest. He doesn't complain. He just handles it. Until one night, he's standing at the sink, water running, half-focused. And his 8-year-old son tugs on his shirt and asks, Dad, why do you always look so tired? Jake freezes. He wants to smile. Say, I'm fine. But he can't. Because it hits him, his own kid doesn't see strength. He sees exhaustion. That night, Jake doesn't finish the dishes. He doesn't fold the laundry. He doesn't stay up to answer emails. He sits on the couch. Silent. Still. Rachel asks, what's wrong? He wants to say, nothing. But something breaks open. I'm exhausted, he says. And I feel invisible. He doesn't cry. He doesn't get dramatic. He just speaks the truth, maybe for the first time in years. Rachel is quiet. Not sure what to say. And that's okay. Jake doesn't need advice. He just needed someone to hear him. From that night on, he starts practicing something new. Small no's. No to staying late at work. No to doing everything by himself. No to pretending he's fine when he isn't. And little by little, he starts saying yes to himself. Yes to 15 quiet minutes in the morning. Yes to asking for help, even if his voice shakes. Yes to not answering texts right away. Yes to saying, "I'm not up for that tonight." Rachel doesn't always get it. The kids notice a change. But Jake is starting to feel like a person again. Not a machine. Not a fixer. Just Jake. And for the first time in his life, that's starting to feel like enough. What we can learn from Jake's story. You don't have to be exhausted to be worthy. If people only appreciate you when you're doing something for them, that's not connection, that's convenience. Saying no isn't rejection. It's a way to make room for real love. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's how people find the real you. You matter, even when you're resting. If you're feeling like Emily or Jake, here's a gentle place to start. White heavy checkmark. Ask yourself one thing, every day. What do I need right now? Not what does everyone else need. Just you. White heavy checkmark. Pay attention to your energy. What drains you? What fills you back up? Start writing it down, even just a few words. White heavy checkmark. Practice a small no. It doesn't have to be big. Skip a call. Leave a message on read. You're not being rude, you're being honest. White heavy checkmark. Find a space where you can be real. A journal. A walk. A friend. A voice note to yourself. Just somewhere you don't have to be fine. White heavy checkmark. Do something that brings joy. Not something productive. Something fun. Silly. Quiet. Messy. Joy is fuel. One last thing before you go. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to take up space. To rest. To stop proving, fixing, carrying everything. You don't have to wait until your body gives out. You don't have to earn your right to breathe. You can choose yourself now. Because the moment you start saying no to what's breaking you, you start saying yes to what can heal you. And that's where your story truly begins. And if any part of this touched something in you, even just one line, I want you to know, you're not alone. There are so many of us walking this same path. Quiet givers. Sensitive hearts. People who forgot how to say no, and are learning again, one breath at a time. That's what this space is for. Free Talks isn't here to give you rules. It's here to remind you of your voice. To hold space for truth. For stories that feel like your own, even if you've never said them out loud. So stay. Breathe. Take what you need. And if your voice is shaking, say it anyway. Welcome to Free Talks. You're safe here.